So welcome.
Thank you.
And great pleasure to have you. As I see from your postings, you know your way around quite a bit. So you're aware, like, what is the symbols and the signs and all that.
For the most part, there are still things I have to look at, and then I have to look at a symbol chart and say, wait a minute, what is that? For the most part, I do. And what I do understand is the aspects and the houses just by themselves. And I have no idea how any of this ties together for me. So it's just, I don't know if this is totally accurate, but if there are other aspects that say this, then this happens. I don't know that kind of stuff. I'm at a loss to try and understand myself.
The combining is the issue. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So then what we can do is, while we walk through your chart, is that I explain how I get to it, so that if you get to rewatch the recording, you can stop and find your way and figure it out. So then that's a good way to also train this type of synthesis, as we call it, because you combine the meaning of the planet in the house, quality that it has there, and in the sign, and the aspects that it has. And all that is like you form a sentence.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. And what I found the most helpful, actually, of all the interpretation guidelines is to look for the ruler of a house and where it is.
Then I have no idea.
Yeah, because now it's interesting that what I get asked the most is, where do I meet my partner, or what type of partner is it? And then you go look for the ruler of the 7th house, because 7th house is relationship. And now, in which house do you find the ruler? And those who are still dating, they wonder now, do I go to the theater or the sports club, or at work or at college? And I was like, yeah.
How
so we're going to do that. Yeah, and so we're going to do that here.
Okay.
Okay, brilliant. I like to do that, because for me, this is like, actually, it's a science and very methodical, and it has nothing mystical, because as soon as it starts getting mystical, it's being off.
Yes. And I go back and forth between those two extremes.
Yes.
I have a degree in science, but at the same time, I really am interested in the mystical things, and I'm just so conflicted with everything. I feel like I'm two different people. Like, if there's a Gemini somewhere in my chart, I don't know, but yeah, that's how I feel. It's just every year around my birthday, I just want to know more about myself, because I feel like I'm losing myself every year. I just don't know. A little bit at a time. I don't know who I am anymore. So I try and figure it out.
Okay, then we're trying to maybe help today. And the interesting thing is, what I find, it's mystical, not because it's not exact, but because it's so huge and so complex. And so that we will never see everything. That's the one thing. And the other thing, it can only be a guideline. Because if you look at, for instance, at Tony Robbins' chart, I did this last week, and I thought, now I want to see, was this in the genes or like in the birth chart, that this guy is going to build massive riches and huge following, and that's extreme success, because you can see that.
How cool.
Typically, like a tendency you can see. So now I look at this chart, and I thought, this is that's the chart of a poor man.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's like all the money's gonna go out, and the like poverty in the birth home and whatnot. And I thought, like, this is amazing, because I was speaking to my mother this morning, and we spoke like, how did he manage? And then you see that other people put a burden of you with if you have Saturn in the 4th house. So that's like a heavy home with a burden and maybe depreciation, so like possibly poverty. Now, and I said, how did he pull this off? Because this man is everything but poor. And so we figured it must be that he takes this Saturn and applies what Saturn does to himself. Like Saturn is like what other people put like as a burden on yourself or on you. And now you grab Saturn and you do this yourself. He exerted extreme discipline onto himself, extreme burdens, extreme work ethic, and real strain and working hard, as was also Saturn qualities. And now with this, he gets to shape his life and not other people shape it. And we found that this must be, I mean, we want to investigate this now. This must be true for all the so-called planets, outer personal planets, like beyond Saturn and beyond, that tend to exert power onto you. And if you get hold of them and do what they do yourself, you get out of the strain that they may pose. I mean, Saturn can be very supportive as well.
Okay.
When you trine, it will be very stabilizing. But now Saturn in the 4th house per se, maybe stabilizing, but in poverty, very stable poverty. So it's like nothing.
Wow.
So much fun about that. And he even has like a very strong Neptune in his properties, like a 2nd house. Like Neptune on the start of the 2nd house. It's typically a person who would lose all the money.
Huh.
Like, man, how does he do this?
Some people can just work around that. Wow, that's incredible.
And this is the ruler of his 6th house. Where's the income coming from?
Yeah.
And now he makes the income with Neptune. And so typically this is a loss of money, but he interpreted the Neptune apparently as inspiration. So he makes money from inspiration. It's like a physical asset of inspiration makes his money. It's like you can do a lot with a chart if we are not confined to the original meaning, but if you grab hold of what you don't like and change it. And run with the positive, meaning that this planet or this constellation or whatever has. And I found this extremely inspiring. I still have to work on my own chart to like, what do I need to fix here, you know?
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool to know that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So
I aspire to be there.
Yeah, and I think that's what is the mystical part of it, because it's not sacrosanct, that this is the meaning, and here you have, that's your chart, that's your, live it now, you know?
Yeah.
It's
wow.
Yeah. And that I found very inspiring. So that's probably also what Carl Gustav Jung had, because he was also like a scientist, psychiatrist, actually, a medical doctor.
Yeah.
And his archetypes are also like on the borderline of science and finding yourself. And he was a great astrologer, Carl Gustav Jung. And I think
amazing.
Inspired much of his work also.
Yeah. Wow, that's so cool. Oh, I just love how everything works in this, and I'm so intrigued by it all. I wish I could understand it. It's just something that does not click for me, and I don't know why.
Yeah, no, let's try this one. So what you look for first, you go to your sun. So here we have a sun in Leo in the 6th house. So there's a natural leader in the role of a leader. The natural leader is the sun in Leo. Like the sun is what you are. Then in Leo, it's a natural leader. And in the 6th house, it means this is your role, your function in life is the 6th house. This is how you combine these elements. So that's a natural leader, and the function is also to be a natural leader.
Okay.
So that's the sun. Then you go look for the moon. The moon we have here in Aquarius in the 11th house. The moon in Aquarius, like moon is the emotionality and everything, like all about feelings and your the psychology of a person. So that probably you already studied that. And now Aquarius is the sign of freedom. So there's a very free spirit who minds his own freedom and the freedom of others. The most extreme of all signs.
Oh, I didn't.
You don't get any freer spirit than moon in Aquarius.
Okay, hey, that's great.
Would mind everybody's freedom. And this in the house 11, it's a house of friends and also associations like civil society organizations and things. So you will probably find a lot of people in the realm of civil society and friendships.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of.
I try.
With the same type of approach to life.
Okay.
Like minding other people's freedom and respect them, a great deal of positive attitude towards improving society, modernity.
Mm-hmm.
Like reform and forward thinking, novelty, curious, all that.
Okay.
And the friends will be the same because now this is in the house 11.
Okay.
The next thing is we look at the rising. So
Mm-hmm.
a Pisces rising is, it, like generally speaking, an inspired person. And since you only have harmonious aspects to your rising, this is not endangered.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because if you had, like, for instance, a Saturn square to your rising, you could be extremely doubtful and hesitant and extremely shy, for instance.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we always have to mind, is this somehow changed by the aspects that influence a planet, or in that case, the rising, another element. So here we
So
only
that would
have,
be that's straightforward. Like you are a Pisces rising and that's like textbook or?
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. You're the positive Pisces rising textbook.
Okay, great.
Even supported by two things. One is that your rising has a trine from Venus, from the 5th house. So this is the loving, romantic cuddle Pisces rising.
Sometimes, not all the time.
Yeah. Why do I say this? Because a Venus in Cancer, so Venus is love. Now, Venus for love, what you love is in the 5th house. So you love. Mm-hmm. Venus for love, 5th house for what you love. So you love, and in Cancer is like togetherness. So this is the hugging type.
Yeah, I do like.
And Barack Obama, by the way, also has a Venus in Cancer.
So, does he really?
That's why he's like,
and he's a Leo.
People. Yeah, true. Yeah. And he has Aquarius rising, but also the sun in the 6th house.
Oh, yeah.
Which is interesting.
And his birthday is a day before mine, I know.
Oh, really?
That is interesting.
Yeah. Not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, we're looking for the next president.
All right.
So get ready. Well, but this is a natural leadership thing. And the sun in Leo, especially in the 6th house, because the 6th house is what you work.
Okay.
And so you're a natural leader at work.
Yeah. I am. I'm a manager.
Well, surprise!
It makes sense.
Oh, all right. So then what we're still missing, now we know the rising. Then the rising is very positively aspected and has no like negative connotations to it and no aspects that would actually turn this down. So the positive aspects of Pisces are your rising.
Okay.
Now we need to find the ruler of the rising, which is then called the ruler of birth. And the planet that rules Pisces is Neptune. See here on the MC, midheaven, in Sagittarius. So Neptune in Sagittarius is like the inspiration, Neptune.
Okay.
And the vision and like international inspired atmosphere, diversity, all things like diversity in terms of interest in other countries, in the world as such. And like the vision that you have is combined with even possibly some spirituality in terms of for a better world. Mm-hmm. This can be a little romantic because Neptune per se, when he's like in good terms, and here's in good terms because also here also just one trine.
Okay.
And the rising is also very positive. So that's definitely well intended. So you dream of a better life and a better society. I would translate this.
Mm-hmm. I sure do.
That is not like the operationalization, as they call it. Operationalization, what a word. That means this is not the planet that goes there and like constructs a hospital, but firstly minds the vision and put everyone behind the vision, because like leaders like you, in that case with the sun together, would know that without the vision, nobody will move.
That's right.
And so this is something that whatever is here on the midheaven, this is what other people see.
Okay.
When they look at you. They see two things. They see what is the highest planet. This is what the other people see first. And they see the peak of the start of the third house. Because this is how you speak.
Okay.
This is how people experience you. This is what they notice first. And so here with you, they see a clear vision, a clear idea how the world should be, clear ethic. And this would also be related to your work, because now this is on the one hand is you. So you are the result of your life, because Neptune is on midheaven. Midheaven is the goals and the result of the life and the profession and career. So you are basically the product of your life. You make yourself better, and you are the result. And this is what others can see from far.
Okay.
And it will also radiate that you work so much on yourself with not like hard on, but like with an ease, always following your vision.
Okay.
So basically the midheaven here, this would be the thing that we look at next, would also be geared toward diversity and inclusion, international vision, and a better vision for the world, basically. Like all the Sagittarius things. Also here, not a negative connotation, because also just positive aspects.
Great.
Then we would need to look for the ruler of, you see already where this is going. We look at the sign, and look for the ruler. So where do you work? The ruler of the professional career, Jupiter, rules Sagittarius. And we find Jupiter at the beginning of the 8th house in conjunct with Mars. You see this here, these two?
Yeah.
In Scorpio. So firstly, Jupiter in Scorpio in harmonious aspect to the midheaven as its ruler is the one thing. And the second thing is that Jupiter in Scorpio is someone that sees the pain of the world and goes there, fix it. One thing, one day at a time, one piece of work at a time, and continues and goes on, drags a number of other people into the case and continues on improving, sees the next problem, loads it onto himself and gets fixed. And next day, go fix it. Next day, go fix it.
That's basically my job.
This is in the 8th house. So that means it's a lot about, it can be from fixing everything that has to do with death, or with transformation, with improvement of society, with healing from pain, or something randomly in this direction. May I ask what type of work it is that you do?
I'm a nurse.
Like,
yeah, I was waiting. Yeah, I am a nurse. I'm no longer doing patient care. Now I'm working behind the scenes, and I'm educating other nurses. I'm a manager to educate other nurses on how to care for and document well, how to care for patients better and document well. Yeah.
It's this like the systematic approach that like we can make it happen. Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
You know who else has this? It's interesting. I had yesterday, I had a girl, 15 years, 15 years of age, thinking what would be a good course of study for her and really interested. I was like, I was like, lovely. And so open, speaking about what she wants to achieve. And she also has the Jupiter in Scorpio. And this is a condition that also the founder of the Red Cross had, Henri Dunant.
Wow.
And he went onto the battlefield of Solferino and saw all the turmoil and pain and chaos and wounded soldiers and whatnot. And typically you would stand there and be like overwhelmed by the pain. And he stood there still overwhelmed, but he said, well, we have to organize and help.
That's right.
Today this is the Red Cross.
Ah, that's so cool. I had no idea. That's amazing.
So this biography must be inspiring, I think.
Yeah.
To read. Yeah, and how to actually to do that, to reduce pain, because you will see it with the Jupiter in Scorpio, especially in the 8th house, you will also see death.
Yep.
And you're not the person who is overwhelmed to an extent that you cannot help anymore. So you'll be able to maintain your energy even with the greatest adversity.
Yeah, it affects me, but not enough to not help.
To not be able to help, yeah.
That's
and
right.
You would still convey energy to others, so for them to get out of the pain.
How cool.
How cool. Yeah, very, very much so. And now you have even Mars coming to help your Jupiter there.
Okay.
And Mars is in domicile in Scorpio. It's one of the planets ruling Scorpio. And so it's in the best possible quality. So it's a person who can argue a case.
Sure can.
Because my mother has the same. I know it.
It's one of my favorite things to do. Oh, that's so funny.
And it was so cool because my mother, she insisted that the education of myself and my siblings was by discussion. So she said, if you think my decision is not right or you want something different, you can argue your case. And if you can convince me, so shall be it. And this is how we learn to argue.
I am going to tell my daughter the same thing. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. And then a couple of years later, she complained to my father that this is exhausting. And he said, well, it's your idea.
Just constantly arguing with me now. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. My mother has the same Mars, by the way. So also Mars in Scorpio. It's very good to argue. And would be sharp, like Mars is also decision making. Be sharp in the decision making, like really know black from white, and tell that like in an
I feel
instant.
very comfortable making decisions. Yes.
Yes. You can see that. So what else do we have? We have Saturn in the 7th house with a square to your Venus. So we don't just address the easy cheesy beautiful aspects that you have here, obviously have here, but also others, like what could be tensions. We have the square of Saturn to Venus, and we have the square of Jupiter, Mars to the moon, which we still need to address. So the first thing is we see Saturn is in the 7th house, which is nothing like bad per se. It would just mean that typically you would not marry at 17.
No, I married later, I guess.
Yeah, so that's a classic. But since you have now your moon in an air sign and also Saturn in an air sign, this isn't like really exactly heavy, but still we need to consider a depreciation of Saturn that Saturn can create in a square that we have here.
Okay.
So in order to determine what the Venus does with the square or how it's affected, we need to look where does it come from. So Venus rules house number 2, and is part of the 7th house, but doesn't rule the 7th house, because I don't know if you can see it. I'll move away the windows. The sign Libra doesn't have an own house.
Oh, okay.
So Venus only rules the 2nd house in this case.
Okay.
But Venus is the ruler of Saturn, because Venus rules the sign that we find Saturn in.
Okay.
Yeah? So what I would interpret here is that there is a depreciation of the cuddle factor, Venus in Cancer. That means you won't be as much hugging like Mr. Obama. Hugging, but a little less. Huh?
Is there like an age line there? Because I know. I feel like as I've become an adult, that kind of went out the window.
Yeah. Still, you have like this, I mean, with the Venus in Cancer overall, you have this protective type of spirit, the protective type of love. This can be, I mean, Saturn creates a lot of discipline. So this can be reduced a little by the discipline that you expect of yourself and of others. So I think in that case, it's not a problem, but something that reduces a little bit the just cuddle factor. So you're not so much attached like a Venus in Cancer would be typically. And the second aspect that would also reduce this a little bit is the freedom moon that you have here. Yeah. So it's not like, wow, there's a word I just can't think of it, attached.
Okay.
Extremely attached person would be typically the Venus in Cancer. And so this is alleviated to, I would say, like normal level. Not
so
clingy.
Is that
the word is clingy? You're not clingy.
But is that saying that I was, and that as time went on, I'm not as clingy?
This can be because Saturn is the planet of age. So this may come in a little later.
Okay. Yeah, because I had bad separation anxiety from my mother as a kid. And now I'm not as not as I don't have as much of a problem at all with separation anymore. I kind of outgrew that. So
yeah, I think that's this influence. Yeah.
Yeah.
Must be this influence. Yeah.
Wow.
It's like a maturing type of aspect. Yeah. I mean, it's not that typically you would want to know where is your loved ones, how they are, how long are they in some place. And so this is just also to be aware of where everyone is.
Yeah.
This would,
and I'm okay with just that.
yeah, with just that. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not surfing behind others and what, yeah, exactly. So that's a very healthy balance.
Wow. Okay.
So, and then we have the square here between Jupiter, Mars, and the moon. So this energetic type of care for others, and also not mind great pain, to see great pain, and to manage the transition from pain to healthy state. So that's those two planets. And also the discussion would sometimes create pain for yourself.
Yep.
I mean, surprise.
Yeah. That makes total sense. But yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So sometimes you would, of course, feel it, and you would take time to load off and relax. And
that's exactly it. I need time to process it and then
supervise yourself.
Yep. And then I'm okay.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, but it's not that you don't feel it. So because what we said before could mean that you don't feel any pain. Yeah. That's not the case. You do feel it.
I feel it.
So then what typically we can also look is at the 7th house. Then we see the 7th house is in Virgo. And Virgo has two rulers. So this can be two types of partners that you attract or that you find interesting or lovable. And the first ruler of Virgo is Mercury. So Mercury we see here in the 6th house. So that's also a ruler. Mercury in Leo is also a ruler. Has a trine to your ruler of birth. So the ruler of 7 has a trine to the ruler of 1.
Okay.
So that's you. That's your partner. Trine. Wonderful. Short, bottom line, wonderful.
Okay.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
would this fit already, the description?
He is, just about the perfect guy.
Okay, well done.
Yeah. I can't except, he's got a bit of a temper, but that's really the only thing that I could say that's bad about him.
Yeah, but on the other hand, if he didn't have it, would maybe be boring, right?
Yeah, I would be very bored because, I like a good argument.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. So also himself a leader, so he would not just like do what you say and he jumps. This would be boring. Right?
Oh yeah, he's not I wouldn't call him a leader in his life all around, but in the home, he wants to be the man of the house. I am in this position. I want to make the money. I want to provide for my family. He is that type.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And very harmonious. So it's like really, that's great.
Great.
And the second ruler of the 7th house is Chiron. Chiron sits in Taurus in the 2nd house. So that's a man who loves nature.
Yes, he does.
Okay. Good. So he incorporates both worlds. And so that's good for you.
Yeah.
Found the right man.
But good. I'm glad. I knew it when he came along. Actually, I had been looking for this particular sign all of my dating life, and I never ran into one until one day, and I ran into two. And it was almost like, I was like, wait a minute, which way am I going here? And ultimately, we met in school and everything. And he was that man. How funny is that? I know.
And now you see where is the ruler of the 7th house? It's in the 6th house. Barack Obama has this also. His ruler of 7 is in the 6th house. So the partner is a peer, a colleague.
Yeah, he is. He's a nurse as well. Yeah, we met in school.
Now, really? Even the profession? Oh, cool.
Yeah.
It's like your chart is like heaven sent. It's like
that's so cool.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah.
I love when things are so black and white because when it's gray, I don't understand it at all. I need everything to be like this. So this is wonderful.
Yeah. This caters to your Mars here.
Yeah, that's it.
Very good. So what else can we see? We see like the moon nodes maybe are interesting still. The moon nodes show like the northern moon node is the one in Cancer here in the 5th house. And the southern one is here opposites, always opposites. It's like a technical construct that depends on where is the moon, basically. And the northern moon lunar node shows us where we go in this life. And the southern shows us what we bring to this life as a talent and what we've seen in the past. Okay. Basically. So we're supposed to go the direction of the northern lunar node, and this stands in conjunct with, distant conjunct, but still conjunct with Venus in the 5th house in Cancer. So the direction is love and togetherness. Yeah, there could be worse things, right?
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking.
It's not bad to have here. Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, and your part of fortune, this is this cross in the circle here in the 7th house. The part of fortune is in the relationship field in the 7th house. So there comes a lot of happiness from the marriage.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
So far, so good.
Yeah, so far so good. I think, yeah, that's a good one. I forgot to mention Uranus, the 12th house, probably also interesting. The 12th house is the subconscious and the overall public, typically the subconscious. And the ruler of the subconscious is here in the peak of the 9th house, Uranus.
Okay.
So the subconscious by itself would be novelty seeking and curious, because Aquarius, and inventive. So you would draw from being calm a lot of novel ideas and creative solutions. That means like if you sit down for 10, 15 minutes, your mind will deliver.
Yep. Have to really focus, but it does happen.
Yeah. And it will always, the interesting thing is now that the ruler of the 12th house is in the peak of the 9th, it will always deliver in line with your ethical standards.
Good. Okay.
Because this is what you're basically also looking for. If you go into your mind, you're looking for answers and solutions that comply with your own standards, and they are strong. And you don't mind like novel solutions. Like this is very like a drive for innovation.
Yep. I do some of that at work too. So I enjoy creating things, and yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, super.
Very cool.
Brilliant. It's like a cool chart.
I know. Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much. You are so insightful. I'm so glad that I found you.
I'm happy to have you. Really, it was really enjoyable conversation already from the writing. I always find so inspiring.
Oh, thank you.
Like also put your mind to really.
Yeah, I'm really trying to figure it out, but man, is it hard for me. But I don't, I mean, I'm sure that it takes years and years, but this is the first year, like I said, all the time around my birthday, I get really interested in this. And usually it fizzles out, but this year it was different. And I've just been like picking up books and trying to figure it out. And I just, I can tell you whatever, or if I have a good memory about it, I can tell you what everything in my chart means, or anything in anyone's chart means if I go and look it up and read it to you, but I don't know how that applies to your life. So that's what I get very confused with that.
All right. What you can do is to do the solar chart. We can also keep this for solar chart, like solar return. Solar return. What you see here, for instance.
Yeah. This
is the solar return of.
Oh, it's like it's flipped.
Yeah. Inside is the solar chart of the year, 3rd August 2020, and outside is your birth chart.
Oh.
Yeah, this is how you work it. And solar return, it means that like really the sun arrives at the same place, like 11 degrees 22 in Leo.
Okay.
And when this is the case, when it's exactly the same degree, minute, and second, then the solar chart kicks in at the place of your birth, in this case, same place. And now we see here that your solar chart for this year has a Gemini rising and Venus in the 1st house. So this will be loving, a loving year. And we also see here attention to the rising from Neptune. That means around your birthday, some communication could have generated misunderstandings.
I have to go back and think. It's been crazy since
it definitely a short, probably you won't remember it, actually, a short thing. Then we have the condition of the corona crisis, like the distant conjunct of Jupiter, Pluto, and Saturn. This has been with us from the beginning of the crisis.
Oh, wow.
We have in the 8th house, that means a lot of transformation going on for you through this type of crisis.
Well, I was furloughed from my job, which is funny because I work from home. So it's like you're just letting me stay home.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Have a great time.
See you again.
Enjoy, and we'll speak again. All right.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.